The sad day for planet Earth. We now live in a world where Jake Paul has beaten Mike Tyson in a boxing match. Now, obviously, Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old at this point, so of course he's not going to win in a fight against Jake Paul, who's 27 and has been doing this non-stop for like 5 years. Do I think that means Jake Paul is a better boxer than Mike? No. No, nobody thinks that. If you do, you're insane, and you need to be checked into a institution. With that being said, I watched the entire thing from start to finish, and it was one of the saddest things I had ever had the displeasure of viewing. After a round, you can tell that Mike just clearly wasn't checked in. His legs weren't there. He was wobbly. He wasn't really throwing very many punches. I think he threw like, 18 to 20 punches, or landed that many throughout the entire fight, all 8 rounds, which is wild. Roy Jones Jr., who has fought Mike, I think it was about 4 years ago, it was in 2020, was commentating, and he was saying how he was noticing Mike was doing things that he wasn't doing before, things that he shouldn't have been doing, things that could be detrimental to him, and they ultimately ended up being. Now, he didn't get knocked out, and I think that's because Jake didn't want to. You can tell just by watching the whole thing. Jake had every opportunity to put Mike down because he wasn't really defending anything. Mike was getting caught quite a bit, and it looks like he took his foot off the gas a little bit, which I guess I have to say I respect him for. But then again, stepping in the ring with an almost 60-year-old retired fighter is Jake's speed, and that's not respectable at all. Mike spent more time gnawing on his glove than he did actually throwing punches. Overall, this whole thing is pretty fucking sad. Nobody really wanted to see Mike get beat up like that, especially knocked out, so I'm glad that didn't happen. But I say all of this to lead up to the idea that people seem to run with. The idea that this fight was rigged, and as somebody who actually watched it and didn't just look at fucking Twitter clips, I don't think the fight was rigged. I think you can tell from the very beginning that Mike is not built for this anymore. You can tell he wasn't throwing punches because he's getting tired. He's on wobbly legs. He really wasn't ready for any of this, nor should he continue to do this shit down the line. He's almost 60. He should hang it up.
But his sparring footage, he looked good in sparring footage.
It doesn't matter how good you look on pads or how good you look in the gym. The actual fight is completely different. Now, let's not sit here and pretend like that actually holds any weight.
But it's Mike Tyson. It doesn't matter what age he is.
Yes, it does. It does matter what age he is. He's almost 60. That is most definitely playing every single part in why he was doing almost nothing in this fight. He threw in like the first round and a little bit in the second, and that is it. He was done. He was tired. He was shaky. He really didn't want to throw anymore. So what, you think this whole thing was rigged? Not only is that illegal as shit, if that's the case, why would they make it so obvious? You sit here and say, oh, well, Mike's not even throwing anything. It's so clear that this shit's rigged. Well, why would they make it look so clear that they did something incredibly illegal? Like, you genuinely think that's what happened? You think that's more likely than Mike stepping in the ring, not understanding that he's 58 years old, because the entire time he said, I don't feel 58, even though he definitely felt 58 in that fight? And then at the very end, Ariel Helwani asked Jake if he's actually trying to knock Mike out, and Jake literally dodges the question. He dodges it and tries to be respectful even after all the shit he talk, because, you know what, I understand it's Mike Tyson, he's going to want to be respectful at the end of the day, but he dodged it. He intentionally didn't answer it. Why? Because it's very clear if you watch the fight, Jake was just throwing a jab the entire time because he didn't actually want to knock Mike out, noticing that he wasn't doing anything and he was essentially fighting an old punching bag. But what is mildly confusing is what exactly Jake tried to gain from this whole thing. So if he beats older Mike Tyson, which he has, he beat a husk of the man that was Iron Mike. He's not the same fighter anymore, so you don't get your fucking pat on the back or your recognition for beating an old man who is way out of his prime and has been retired for years. Great, you added another win to your record of older men who are out of their prime. Congratulations. I mean, respect for not trying to knock him out, but that's literally about it. This entire fight should not have happened. I think the idea that they had to push it back due to health concerns for Mike says everything that needs to be said. At that point, they should have had like a fucking eureka moment and been like, wow, maybe we shouldn't do this. But no, it's money, it's Netflix, of course they're going to want to go through with it anyway, and it was stupid. Terrible. Shouldn't have watched it. Everybody who watched it, you got scammed out of your time, and that's about it. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.